love the chase and the hunt, and I set the pace when I'm running. I always take what I want and I always give it 100. Don't need a bank, no I'm funded. Play the game like it's nothing. I'm always thankful for something. Don't take for granted, stay humble. Now waiting, better believe in your mind, cause it's everything. You can mold, shape, find almost anything.
Hey everybody, this is Praxis, and in this video I'm going to give you an update on how things are going with the gray water system that is being installed above the first floor bathroom, which captures all the gray water that comes out of the upstairs bathroom. I'm interested in finding out how it works for a couple of reasons. One, I just would like to know that it works all right, and two, I've got the ceiling from the second floor bathroom all thrown down in here in the hall, and I'd love to be able to confirm that all the plumbing up there works so I can put the ceiling back up. So let's take a peek. What we've got is the two valves went in really nicely. I'm going to get a little light in there for you so you can see a little bit better. The two valves went in nicely. This valve I'm illuminating right here is from the shower, and it is from the sink. I tested that yesterday, and I couldn't find any kind of leaking happening around any of the seams around the screws or anything like that. So that one seems to be in pretty good shape. All of the connections between all the pipes seem nice and dry after I tested them yesterday. This morning I did the first test of this valve up here. This valve here is the one that switches the laundry, the feed from the laundry to go out to gray water or go to the septic system. As of this morning, I don't see any leaks occurring anywhere around any of the screws or anything related to this guy. Although I did find one set of leaks here. This is where I spliced into the pipes. I made some cuts right here, and these two rubber collars were put back in to kind of rejoin the pipes back together. This rubber collar here is the one that goes for the shower and the sink, and yesterday when I was testing it, no leaks around that one. But this one here, this is the one for the clothes washing, and this side right here, I'm just going to point right up in here, I had the tiniest little bead of leaking happening just around that side. So a couple different things that could be causing that. One is just perhaps that I didn't tighten it down well enough. It's a little bit awkward getting up in there to get the screwdriver in there. So I might not have tightened that particular side down enough. Alternately, there could have been something that kind of got stuck up in there. Maybe there was some debris or something that it prevented it from getting a good seal. So what I'm going to do is just tighten that thing down a little bit more, and we'll wait and do another laundry run, and just continue to see how things go. Realistically, testing these things for more than one day is probably a good idea before I put up the ceilings. Again, I mentioned this I think in previous videos, even if I get leaks, it's not really going to be that big of a deal. We're going to notice them right away. They're not just going to hide up in here. We'll see them on the other side of the ceiling, and we can address them right away. Related to leaks, one thing that I had kind of mixed feelings about is you can see these two valves, both of them have their gasketed side facing downward. And that's kind of nice because it gives me easy access to the handles. These little handles here, you can use these to switch one way or the other. So I have much more convenient access to doing switches with them facing down. But if I'd been able to put them in the other way so that the gasketed side was not the side that's facing down, it would have been one more step in the direction of preventing leaks. But I've used these valves before. I've had one installed for over a decade. I've never had a leak, even when the gasketed side is not facing up. So I'm not super worried about it. But that was something that had crossed my mind when I was installing them. Ultimately, the reason that I installed them this way wasn't for convenience of being able to get at the handles, though I do appreciate that. It was more so because you can see when I installed these, you disassemble them before you install them. So when you're gluing the fittings together, like you can see the fitting that I glued in right here, if I'd glued this in with all of the screws and everything closed, if any of that seal had started dripping down on the inside, it could have glued the thing shut, or glue the handle in a certain place. So when you install these, you disassemble them, glue them and make sure none of the glue gets into the internal chamber where the action happens, and then you close them back up. Now, if I flip this one around and this one here, I never would have been able to reach any of those screws up there. So yeah, that was the reason that I ended up doing them this way. It's just for reassembling them. It was really the only way to reassemble them. And like I said, I'm not that concerned about drips. If a drip does happen, we're going to know right away because we've just got a little bit of 3/4 inch board here. It's not going to be a mystery. We'll know right away there's a leak, and we can get right back up here and address it. And also, I have had these installed in the past and have never had a drip issue with them. So, there's always a first time. Never say never until it happens. But if it happens, it's something that we can address pretty quickly. But it's all together. It's working. Let's go outside and take a peek at how that's all looking on the outside. On the way by, though, I just want to point your attention to this right here. We've got the seeds going for our garden this year, and they're going pretty well. It's only been, I think, just a little more than 24 hours, and these sunflower seeds have already started to germinate. What we've got going on here is we've got 2 Mars Hydro grow lights. One is on this level, one is below, and it's actually not even being used right now. This is the only one operating at the moment, and both of those are on dimmers. Here's the dimmer switch, so we can change the illumination. I've just got it up all the way at the moment. And we also have heating mats, and right now the temperature on the mat is, because the light is on, is 96.9 degrees. The thermostats are set for 84 degrees, so if the temperature goes below 84, these mats here will turn on. The reason that the seeds are not centered on the mats is that I've got 2 mats, one here and one here, and at the moment I only have one set of seeds, so I just have them kind of in the middle. Tonight, when the likelihood is that this is going to get a little cool because we don't leave the lamps on all night, I'm going to take this seed pack and slide it back so it's just on one of the mats down there. But that's the reason we don't have it centered in the middle there. So far this is working out really, really great. If you can look at the difference between the illumination levels on the seeds and outside, it's not a particularly sunny day outside. We've got a lot of overcast sky up there. It's full cloud cover, but we are able to get nice strong sun on the seeds here because we are concentrating all of the power that we are getting from the sun in our solar collection array up on top of the roof, and it's being focused onto the seeds here. And that's a really cool kind of force multiplier where we are able to give the seedlings full illumination even on days when there is no full illumination. And that's something I hadn't really thought about. I had thought, well, I can always put these out in the sun, and that's kind of what I'd always done in the past. But on days like this, there just isn't sun. And we're able to run this light off our solar panels because we have so much more area of solar panels up on the roof. So that's working out pretty well, and my God, after just a little more than 24 hours, the seeds are already germinating. Mostly I think that is due to the warmth that we've been giving them. So let's head out here, finally, building up some suspense here. Here is what we got beginning for our gray water system. Let's start where it starts. This is where the plumbing comes out of the wall. It comes out with a 2-inch pipe, and I spray foamed it in place, and then I put this hydraulic cement around here to really make a nice seal around the pipe. You'll notice hydraulic cement, it tends to be darker than the regular stucco that I'm using up here. If that's a problem for you when you're ever going to do this yourself, you might want to have that as you may want to consider that. It doesn't really bother me. Someday I might put kind of a decorative feature, maybe like a sculpture of a face and it looks like it's vomiting the water out or something like that. But for now, we've just got a 90-degree bend, and I have not cemented this one in place, so this one can still rotate while I kind of figure out exactly how I want to do this. How I'm doing this at the moment is I've just got maybe a 3-foot or 4-foot section of pipe that's coming off of it, and it's dumping it down into this large flower pot. At the moment, it's just going straight into the flower pot. I think I'm probably going to add some gravel and some charcoal there. That'll help capture, chemicals that are coming down. We're using natural soaps, but I'm sure there's something in there that might be good to get absorbed in some charcoal. So we're going to be putting charcoal in there and some gravel, and that'll be kind of the place where it first gets dumped into the garden. The benefit of putting it into the pot first is it's not going to erode the soil away. If you can imagine this thing dumping directly down into the soil, it would make a big pit and it would be difficult to control. The pot captures it all, and it kind of bubbles out the side here and just spills over the edge. And I've got a trench going here to just start spreading the water around. It goes down over to there. We've got it back into the corner, and it's working its way over here. Now this soil that we have here, this is just it's like clean fill kind of stuff. I forget what it's referred to as. It's essentially what is washed off of rock when they're trying to wash stone at like a sand and gravel place. When you're washing stone, it's got dirt on it, dirt and silt and stuff like that, and the washing stuff that gets removed, that's what this is. That's what I bought is clean fill, and that's what we are dealing with. I mean, there's not really any organic material in it. It's it's junk in terms of growing. So we're adding to it. You can see little bits of hay in here. I've been taking some of the bedding from the chicken coop, and I mixed a little bit of the bedding in there. You got to be really judicious about how much of this sort of chicken coop bedding you put in there, because it's really hot. It's got an awful lot of nitrogen in it, and you can really overkill and burn your plants if you have too much of that in there. So we just took a little bit of that, mixed it in, and on top of that, what I added is some of this stuff, composted cow manure. That's going in there. And the last piece of the mix is this right here. This is compost from our compost pile just outside. Now, this is only in this one area, and the reason I just put it here initially is this soil here has absolutely nothing in terms of worms in it. This soil has been really, really dusty, bone dry. Like you can see what we're dealing with here. In fact, if I shovel this stuff around too much, it becomes this fog in the air. And one of the nice things about getting it damp is that this place isn't going to be so dusty. But there's no life in this soil. Well, I'm sure technically there is still life in this soil, but there ain't no worms in this soil. So I brought in the compost. It's kind of an inoculation to start bringing in some of the healthy microorganisms, bacteria, and worms. I'm sure there's like little worm eggs and things like that in there, and probably just some worms themselves. So that's going to start kind of spreading through the soil, and I'll probably bring more of it in over time. But at the moment, I just started over there. But just kind of taking a general look at it, it's already really starting to liven up this space. Now, we're going to continue to develop this space, and I'll bring you guys in along on the journey. But as a first step, really so far so good. And it is such a nice feeling to be, up in the bathroom, taking a shower or washing laundry or, washing, your face, your hands or something like that. And to know that all of the water is going to a second purpose. We had this really dusty, unusable space out here, and we're taking a waste product that, had just been getting thrown down the drain and, goodbye forever, so to speak. And it's getting turned into something that is really going to, make our life in this space so much nicer. And I've got lots and lots of plans on this place to turn it from what you see here, this kind of like prison camp kind of feel, to a really nice space with some trellises and everything. And again, I'll be bringing you guys along on that journey as we continue. But really, so far so good. I was nervous going in about cutting into the pipes. Not that I'd never done it before, but just, you cut into a plumbing system that works fine. You're always kind of like, everything was fine until you touched it. So I was a little nervous going in, and I'm super happy that all of the glued joints seem like they're working 100%. All of the gaskets in the valves seem like they're working at 100%. And the only place where I had that tiny, tiny little drip, which is so small, realistically, I could probably just ignore it, and it would never become an issue. The only place I had the drip is that one rubber rubber sleeve for bring the pipes back together, and that's going to be so easy to address. So it's all coming out really, really great. And the next step in here, and again, I'll be bringing you guys along on the journey, is to just continue to hydrate the soil, and then we're going to start growing stuff in here. I'm not 100% certain what I'm going to grow in here first. One thing that we don't have in here is pollinators. We don't have bees. Well, we do have some wasps. We occasionally have some wasps and hornets that fly in here, and maybe we'll be leveraging them. But whatever I grow in here, I'm going to have to consider the idea that we're going to have to get pollinators in here. Like, say, if I'm growing tomatoes or beans, if nothing pollinates those flowers, we're not going to get any fruit or vegetables off of those. So we need to. Okay, I'm going to go with the scientific definition of fruit. We won't get any fruit. We will get vegetables. Fruit is the seed carrying part of the plant. So the fruit is the thing we won't get if we don't get any pollinators in here. So continue with me on the journey if you're interested. I'm really excited about this because this is really one of those things where you're taking a desert and essentially turning it into a lush oasis. That's it. Thanks for watching. Hey YouTube preppers, it's great to see a project come to fruition, but if you want to see how the project began, here's a video over here. In that video, I'm just starting off the project and I'm not 100% certain how it's going to turn out.